Breaking news, everyone. JLR investigates. Good evening, everyone. Live shot right now of the New York City skyline. Continuous coverage of the drone mystery, the ongoing drone panic, drone madness. The talk all weekend has been drones, 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 and we have been covering the drone stuff for days now. Every night we come on live and share what is the latest. See a lot of people in the chat. Good evening, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're at. People watch JLR Investigates from around the globe. Well, we have our eyes on the sky. I've been in my backyard this evening looking in Florida to see if there's any drones up in the sky. I haven't seen any tonight. Have you seen any outside your home? Where's everyone from? Name where you're from. I'd love to see where everyone is from. You see the New York skyline, folks. It's pretty quiet. Not a lot of aircraft. I don't see any drones. And I have Flight Radar 24 up. I don't see drones. Where are these drones? What's going on here? So you notice I titled the video here, Suspects Arrested. This is a wild case. We're going to talk about this case. We're going to talk a lot about drones, but we're going to talk about this case of these two individuals. Two individuals got arrested last night. Last night, they were flying a drone around Logan International Airport in Boston. They were on the harbor, and they were in a boat. There was actually 3 suspects. 1 escaped. 2 suspects got arrested. They responded to the scene about a hazardous drone operation. Who are these people? Why were they out by the airport flying some drone that they got caught with? They're only charged with trespassing at this time, and authorities are considering charging them with additional charges. What will that be? Now, it's interesting because a lot of this drone talk, a lot of these drone sightings seem like they've been happening around airports. Been hearing a lot about LaGuardia Airport. They actually had to shut what is it called? Stewart Airport? Or is it in upstate New York or right outside New York City? The other night, an airport in New York got shut down temporarily. The airport runway shut down. Let's see where it was at. Name of it. It was in New York. Governor actually called that out too. Yeah, Stewart International Airport. Friday night. So what we're going to do, and I see a lot of people coming in the chat, what we're going to do is we're going to play these 2 clips here about the arrests of these individuals. Wild stuff, and I expect more arrests, not only from people trying to copycat, or maybe they were trolling. I don't know what they were trying to do. We'll listen to the clips, but I expect more arrests to happen over time if this mystery keeps coming. Not only with people flying drones in unauthorized areas, close to the airports, close to the military bases, close to wherever they're not supposed to fly. You're not supposed to fly drones around airports like that, right? I don't think you're allowed. But we're also probably going to see arrests coming up where people are shooting down drones because the call of action from the president-elect is to shoot down these drones. You got Chuck Schumer speaking today. Senator Chuck Schumer of New York, he's calling for an investigation. It's going to be interesting stuff. But let's play these 2 clips right here about these arrests of these individuals, and then we'll further have a discussion.
Were arrested on Sunday after trespassing charges after a drone came dangerously close to Logan International Airport. And I do want to put up this here from a Boston PD talking about these 2 suspects that were arrested following this hazardous drone operation on Long Island, what they call the Boston Harbor Island. As the incident began Saturday afternoon, a Boston police officer detected an unmanned aircraft system, or UAS, operating dangerously close to the airport. The officer advanced monitoring technology to identify the drone's location, the flight history, largely uninhabited Boston Harbor Island. The Boston Harbor Police Unit was dispatched to the island and found 3 people inside the Long Island Health Campus. The suspects fled on foot, 2 were captured, and a drone was found inside of one person's backpack. So we're continuing to follow this very closely here on Live Now from Fox. I do want to bring in to the conversation Boston Herald reporter Matthew Metzger. Matthew, thank you so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. What can you tell us about this arrest? What happened in Boston on Sunday?
So yeah, it turns out it was Saturday evening. The Boston police, like you said, using their own monitoring technology, noticed that there was a drone flying close enough to Logan International Airport that they were concerned about it. Using their tools, they were able to figure out its location, its altitude, its flight history, and where the operators were, which is a small island in the Boston Harbor, Long Island. Like you said, generally unoccupied. They would have had to taken a boat out there. And yeah, I guess the Boston Harbor went out and found 3 men. All of them fled. 2 of them were caught, and now in custody are Robert Duffy of Charlestown and Jeremy Folcik of Bridgewater, both facing trespassing charges.
Yeah, it is very interesting as we talk about these reported drone sightings and the proximity to Logan International Airport. And if you ever flying into Boston, you know it's right there on the water. Can you talk about the proximity to this location of where these people were and just the fact that they were close to the airport? That's what tipped authorities off, correct?
Yeah, you've pretty much nailed it. When you fly into Logan, one way or the other, you're flying over these harbor islands. So any aircraft that were to go straight up from Long Island could theoretically put itself right into the path of a incoming plane in Logan. And that's specifically what the Boston police said, is that when these drones, though they are small, find themselves in the path of a plane, the plane would then have to veer out of the way to not hit that. And that's what causes a danger, is that if plane might have to shift their trajectory to deal with an unexpected drone in the way. And we're talking maybe a dozen miles away from where the planes would be coming in. So right in an approach vector.
Yeah, right there in the approach, and that is dangerous for all those commercial flights that fly in at a very busy airport there in Boston. I want to ask you, because they found the drone in the backpack of one of these people that are arrested. There's trespassing charges. Can you discuss some of the laws in place there locally around Boston? Because it's not against the law to fly drones. It is against the law, maybe close to proximity to the Logan International Airport. Can you discuss that a little bit and what you're reporting on there?
Yeah, well, I'm sure the state of Massachusetts has its own particular laws. I can't cite anything off the top of my head. I'm certainly not an expert on drones, but I can tell you that these things are regulated by the Federal Aviation Administration, as are all flying objects in the United States. And the FAA, within the last year or so, changed their rules to allow people to fly drones at night. And some officials have said that this may be the reason people are seeing so many of them in the sky right now, is because people are now allowed to put drones up at night, where before it wasn't something you were going to see flying around. So while I'm sure Massport has its own set of rules, the real governing body here is the FAA.
All right, very, very interesting. And that is a very good point, as people kind of look to the skies more so at night based on those new regulations, or lack thereof, for people being able to fly drones at night. I also want to talk about the larger scope of all of these reported sightings, a lot of them coming in New Jersey, just down along the coast. This is a post from the governor there in Massachusetts, Maura Healey, saying, "I'm aware of the growing number of drone sightings across Massachusetts, monitoring the situation closely. The Mass State Police are working together with local and federal partners, is prepared to support federal authorities in the jurisdiction over the airspace." How pressing has the local government there, the governor of Massachusetts and other, taken some of these drone sightings at large? And are you guys at the Boston Herald hearing an influx of some of these reports?
Yeah, one of our reporters just last week was speaking with a resident of Weston, Massachusetts, who described a surreal experience seeing several drones flying around their neighborhood. It wasn't the first time somebody has reported a drone within the last couple of weeks. We certainly haven't seen the level of activity that's being reported out of New Jersey, but it's obviously gotten to a point where it's come to the attention of Governor Maura Healey, which is what I'm sure brought her to issue that statement. But yeah, we've ourselves have been hearing from residents of Harwich and, like I said, Weston, places along near the coast, Cape Cod, that have seen these drones or seen what appears to them to be a drone.
Yeah, that is a very good point. Matthew Metzger, thank you so much for joining us. Great reporting as always, as it's a phenomenon that we're continuing to look into. Of course, local law enforcement and officials continue to say there's no threat to public safety. Have mass officials reiterated that at all? Have you heard from them?
Yeah, I haven't gotten any indication that there is any threat. Sources that I've talked to haven't told me that they're worried of some sort of act of terrorism or anything like that. It seems to me at this point, everybody's just watching to figure out what exactly is going on, whether it is just like the case of these two arrested men, people playing around, or if there's some other explanation for why these drones are in the air.
Yeah, that's perfection to circle back around to it as those two people arrested near Logan International Airport in Boston, flying one small drone just near some of the airspace they shouldn't have been in. Matthew, thank you again. I appreciate your time here. Great reporting as always here on Live Now. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. All right, let's continue on here on Live Now from Fox. Great reporting as always, talking about this.
Welcome back into Live Now from Fox as we continue to track all of the latest. I want to bring you some breaking news in regards to some of these mysterious drone sightings that we have been seeing across the country. Taking a look here at a tweet from the Boston Police Department, they say this: 2 suspects arrested following hazardous drone operation in Long Island. Now, we do have a part of the statement here from the Boston Police Department as we just got this news just a little while ago. And it says this: on December 14th, 2024, at approximately 10:22 p.m., officers from the Boston Police Harbor Patrol Unit arrested 2 individuals identified as 42-year-old Robert Duffy of Charlestown and 32-year-old Jeremy Folcik of Bridgewater, Massachusetts. The arrests were made on Long Island, part of the Boston Harbor Islands, following a hazardous drone operation near Logan Airport's airspace. Both suspects face charges of trespassing with additional fines or charges potentially forthcoming. Now, that is just a part of the statement and the press release that was just given out by the Boston Police Department. A Live Now look over at Boston. There you can see the downtown of the city, as I want to read a little bit more from what we know with this press release. So Boston Police continues to say the incident began early that evening at 4:30 p.m. when a Boston police officer specializing in real-time crime surveillance detected an unmanned aircraft system operating dangerously close to Logan International Airport. Leveraging advanced UAS monitoring technology, the officer identified the drone's location, altitude, flight history, and the operator's position on Long Island. Recognizing the serious risks posed by the drone's proximity to Logan's airspace, additional resources were mobilized. The Boston Police Department coordinated with Homeland Security, the Massachusetts State Police, the Joint Terrorism Task Force, the Federal Communications Commission, and Logan Airport Air Traffic Control to address the situation. Members of the Boston Police Harbor Patrol Unit were dispatched to Long Island and located 3 individuals inside the decommissioned Long Island Health Campus. Upon attempting to make contact, the suspects fled on foot. 2 of the 3 individuals were apprehended and identified as Duffy and Folcik. During the investigation, a drone was discovered inside a backpack carried by Duffy. The 2 suspects were transported to District A1 for booking. A continued search for the 3rd suspect, believed to have fled the island in a small vessel, was conducted by officers and the Massachusetts State Police. Duffy and Folcik are scheduled to be arraigned in Dorchester District Court on charges of trespassing. Further charges may be filed pending the outcome of the ongoing investigation. The Boston Police Department reminds recreational drone operators of the importance of adhering to Federal Aviation Administration safety guidelines. Operators are prohibited from flying drones over people or vehicles and must be aware of airspace restrictions. Even small drones pose significant risks, including the potential for catastrophic damage to airplanes and helicopters. Near collisions can cause pilots to veer off course, putting lives and property at risk. And that was the complete press release that we just received from the Boston Police Department detailing the arrest of 2 suspects in hazardous drone operation. I just want to read the top part of that statement one more time, bringing up this graphic here on your screen so you can see there verbatim what Boston PD is saying about the situation. Again, saying that on Saturday, December 14th, 2024, at approximately 10:22 p.m., officers from the Boston Police Harbor Patrol Unit arrested 2 individuals identified as 42-year-old Robert Duffy of Charlestown and 32-year-old Jeremy Folcik of Bridgewater, Massachusetts. The arrests were made on Long Island, part of the Boston Harbor Islands, following a hazardous drone operation near Logan Airport's airspace. Both suspects face charges of trespassing, with additional fines or charges potentially forthcoming. Now, this is, of course, a similar sentiment that we have seen from several law enforcement agencies all across the country, as we're seeing more of these sightings being reported of these mysterious drones. We have heard from officials over in New Jersey. We've heard of sightings happening in New York, New Jersey, Staten Island, and then all the way in California. This is just the latest developments as we work to figure out exactly what's going on. And also, given the fact that a lot of these agencies are asking for the federal government's support in helping to identify where these drones are coming from and what they're doing.
All right. Let's bring Magnolia in the chat. So 2 suspects arrested. Yeah, I had to do a double check, take a minute, folks, because they said Long Island, and I'm like, whoa, Long Island? What are you talking about? These guys were on Long Island, and they flew a drone all the way up to Boston from Long Island, New York. No, there's a little island. I looked on the map. I had to make sure here. I'm not from Massachusetts, but in the waterway there, just southeast of Boston Logan International Airport, there's a little island called Long Island. So apparently some suspects, 3 of them, who, by the way, if you got nothing to hide, why did they try to run? Why did they run? And 1 has escaped. What are they doing? What's going on? Is this part of a group of individuals maybe pranking? Because lately we've been hearing about these drones being flown near airports, LaGuardia, and like I said, Stewart Airport the night before had to shut down because drones weren't near its, where the landing is, where these planes land. So, or is this some sort of scheme that's going on? Is this what this is about? I know some people in the chat were like, scapegoats. These guys are scapegoats. I don't know, folks. Who sits there and goes onto a remote island off the coast of the Atlantic there, or Boston Harbor, you'll call it. I guess it's called Quincy Bay, and fly drones farther away onto Boston's Logan Airport. Magnolia's in the chat. What do you think, Magnolia?
Well, I pulled up this tweet here so we can have their names on. Is my mic on? Here we go. I pulled up this tweet here with the information. So this was Robert Duffy and Jeremy Folcik. The third one is, I guess, still at large. So what's interesting is that when they were approached, they fled as if they were doing something wrong.
I think they were doing something wrong. I think what they were trying to do is create mass panic and try to perpetuate this drone mystery by throwing their own drones up there, Boston, so they could be on the news and say, drone spotted in Boston, drone spotted by the airport.
Yeah, that's really suspicious, though.
I mean, it's the copycats. It's the pranksters, man. I expect to see more of this as this case gets. Now, any case out there with national interest, you always get these like wannabe copycats and wannabe people that want to interject themselves into the situation. And, it's like basically as if there's a mass shooting, then followed by mass shootings, you get a bunch of bomb threats and school shooting threats all over the place by the copycats.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing is applying here, I think. But it could be scapegoats, and then these scapegoats could be used as justification to whatever's happening with this, because it seems like they are beating the drum for some severe we won't say severe, but we'll see. I don't know if I'm using the word right, but really regulation in this drone industry is coming.
Well, that's kind of what it sounds like, because I actually heard, I think it was Kathy Hochul saying that Congress needs to act to give them power to handle these drone situations. So to me, that says they're asking for powers to be able to make more restrictions and regulations and different things like that, because they're claiming that they can't do anything about it and the federal government has to step in.
Yeah, they actually used a quote in one of these articles. Demands Fed step in. Gone too far. This has gone too far. That's what she said in a statement on Saturday. And,
yeah,
and
so
we're talking about it because of the airport had to shut down. Stewart International Airport had to shut its runways down for a while because of these drones up in the sky.
Yeah. Well, and they're saying that there's nothing they can do. They need more power to act, things like that. So the latest here is that Mayorkas apparently at some point today said that the Department of Homeland Security is going to deploy a drone detection systems to New Jersey and New York. And you can see this tweet here with Kathy Hochul. She's saying, in response to my calls for additional resources, our federal partners are sending a drone detection system to New York. I'm grateful for the support, but we need more. Congress must pass a law that will give us the power to deal directly with the drones. And Chuck Schumer, also in New York, senator in New York, echoed what she was saying too. So they're both kind of calling for the same thing. So this will probably just, people are
like
already
New York doesn't have the powers to do anything about drone flying. Is that what she's saying?
Well, they're saying that it's because it's because it's the FAA airspace. They are, they handle the airspace and anything to do with that. And then also, I guess, the military in some cases, but that's what they're claiming, that there's nothing they can do. And Chuck Schumer, the bottom of it's cut off, but it says, he said, I'm calling for Mayorkas to deploy special drone detection tech. And he said, and I'm working to pass a bill in the Senate to give local law enforcement more tools for drone detection. So I think some local agencies might welcome that, because it does seem like from the sheriffs and the different police officers that we've heard from over the last few days, they seem like they're just sort of at a loss. They don't know what to do.
Yeah, speaking of Mayorkas, he's on with George Stephanopoulos. What is his nickname? A lot of people call him George Step on Top of Us. George Step on Top of Us.
George Step on All of Us.
Yeah, George Step on All of Us. George Step on All of Us Stephanopoulos, who, by the way, has to apologize, I guess, to the president-elect for defamation. They settled, which is a wild case. That's a wild case. But imagine that, folks. Imagine that Mayorkas is saying nothing to see here, nothing to see here. And then he goes on with George Stephanopoulos here, who just settled an ABC for $15 million for defamation. And it's like two liars on the chat together. But Mayorkas, I mean, basically, we cover the border, and he's a complete disaster when it comes to the border. I mean, straight lying to the face of the American people, because we've called it out with the boots on the ground. So it was crazy. Like, the government, DHS, is acting like this is no big deal, or what?
Yeah, pretty much.
No credible threats. It doesn't even, I mean, come on. It's wild, to say the least. So we got a clip. Basically, there's a news report. These drone sightings are starting to spread. And it seems like it's starting to spread almost like globally, too. Like sightings and sightings and sightings and sightings. I mean, what is going on here, Magnolia?
Yeah, we keep hearing about it all over the place.
Like, are these false light sightings, or is this just to make this bigger than it is? for justification for federal authorities to step in and intervene with some rules, laws, policies, and procedures, regulations, whatever on the drone industry.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty wild. But we're gonna play this clip. Play the clip of all the news reports. The news report basically based off, these sightings.
Mm-hmm.
All over the place.
Who live here in Temecula say they're used to seeing helicopters and planes from nearby Camp Pendleton, and they say what they saw was quiet, and one had the video to prove it.
A series of suspicious and unusual sightings of drones near the U.S. bases in Germany has put policymakers and military officials on the edge.
First on the East Coast, now mysterious objects are being spotted on the West Coast, Temecula to be specific, leaving residents buzzing.
Now similar sightings are being reported here in San Diego and across Southern California.
There is a bunch of red lights floating in the sky.
This video was taken by archaeologist Colin Rambo a couple of weeks ago in Lemon Grove.
I was driving down the street, just right down the street from my house here, and I pulled my car over because I saw what looked like a fleet of glowing red orbs.
Unidentified drones have been sighted over sensitive industry locations and the U.S. airbase at Ramstein in Germany in recent weeks. This as per the Spiegel News magazine report. The magazine has cited a confidential report by the German security authorities.
All right, the drones may be multiplying. There have been more reports of mysterious flying objects now from one coast to the other. What's going on?
This is what Brian Dirk saw over his Temecula backyard yesterday evening, but he's not the only one who saw it. There are multiple social media videos just like his from South Riverside County. And listen closely. Witnesses say whatever it was didn't make a sound.
There are drones all over the sky.
And this video was taken 3 nights ago in Temecula.
We eventually saw one really fairly close, and it was just about the size of a car. We were at some points right under them, and there was no noise at all.
Music artist and producer It's Nomad Music said these didn't seem like regular planes or helicopters.
They'll be going just straight one direction, and then all of a sudden they'll just zigzag and then keep going or turn around, or they just break really quick.
I looked up because it was coming now right over top of me, and it was quiet. It didn't make any noise.
Melinda Peters saw them last night too in Temecula, which is a mountain range away from Camp Pendleton. The Marine base sent a written statement that reads in part, "We are aware of the drones that are flying over Temecula. They are not associated and do not impact Camp Pendleton's training and operations."
Well, government reports reveal the U.S. military's most advanced fighter jets are dodging unmanned drones right over our Arizona desert.
And Arizona's family investigation found this happened dozens of times in a single year.
But even these drones are unable to reach the altitudes that Air Force pilots reported seeing drones over the Goldwater Range. And one of those drones was big. The pilot reported seeing a 5 to 10 foot wingspan. We found no reports that authorities on the range made any arrests or even spotted the drone operators. Officials from Luke Air Force Base and the Goldwater Range say they are not authorized to talk about what happened out here. And we're still waiting for some other records from a different Air Force department.
After investigation aired in February, we discovered more reports of this taking place. In fact, our nation's military leaders testified before Congress about the issue, saying they are alarmed at how often it is happening.
The number of incursions was something that was alarming to me as I took command last month. I don't know the actual number. I don't think anybody does, but it's in the thousands.
You know, why are the current drone detection and defeat systems that we currently have, why are they failing?
It's an area that we collectively have to continue to work on, not only here in defense here in the United States, but also at our forward locations where we have many of our service members deployed.
Good morning. It really is perplexing, and we're talking about so many states now. New Jersey here on the East Coast, Connecticut, and of course the sightings in California, and no one can say what these things are about.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Julia Thatcher.
And I'm Jeff Herndon. People in several states across the country are concerned about an increase in drone activity with no idea who is behind the controls.
The flying frenzy has reached Kansas as people in Butler and Sedgwick counties have reported seeing multiple drones almost every night. KSN's Derek Lytle spoke to a couple who say it is a problem above their home.
Yeah, Jeff, Julia, Nicholas Mirage says nightly his wife and him have spotted several drones of different sizes hovering around their Augusta home. They say they are now concerned about what business those flying the drones over their property have.
This is not happening just in New York. It's not happening just in New Jersey. That's been going on here.
Several drone sightings over Mulvane, now Augusta. Nicholas Mirage says it's become a problem. He fears of the intentions of those flying the drones.
Invasion of privacy, worries about burglaries. We have seen drones like right outside the window.
His wife Rebecca says they are left with more questions than answers.
We don't know who they are or what they want or what they're doing or what business, they have.
Now, the Butler County Sheriff says he does not believe any type of national security threat has reached the state of Kansas.
Off the top, here at 10, there are additional drone sightings happening right here in our region.
Yes, a mystery that has leaders at the federal, state, and local levels demanding answers tonight.
Now, on your screen is video of drone video taken by a woman who was driving in Bowie on Monday. Now, the woman tells Fox 5 that she saw several drones in the air for about 20 minutes and spotted what appeared to be an aircraft following the drones. Now, a number of Bowie residents that we spoke with this evening say there is some concern, especially one man who woke up to a number of messages about these drones in his community. What went through your mind when you got on the Ring app and you saw your neighbors talking about drone sightings in Bowie?
I was kind of shocked, but wasn't too concerned. I know some people own drones, smaller ones.
I'm not surprised. I mean, drones have been in the motion for quite some time now. The question would be where they were coming from. It would be nice to know if we could determine that.
Now, at the moment, Bowie police say that they don't know who is operating these drones or why they are even in the air at night.
First New Jersey, now Temecula. Mysterious drones spotted in the sky, and now people who live in the area, as you can imagine, they want answers. We all do.
Yeah, so look at this. Brian Dirks saw this over his Temecula backyard Wednesday evening. Now, he's not the only one who saw this. There are multiple social media videos just like this from South Riverside County. Witnesses say whatever this was did not make a sound. A spokesperson for Camp Pendleton says they are aware of drones flying over Temecula, but they are not associated with Camp Pendleton's training and operations.
These are not U.S. military drones. What our initial assessment here is that these are not drones or activities coming from a foreign entity or adversary.
But in Temecula, people we spoke with say they are certain they saw drones and just want to know if a business or a government agency or who else might be behind them.
You would think that they'd let people know so that, because like I said, it's become this big thing.
So you heard Camp Pendleton says those drones were not theirs. We also reached out to the Forest Service because the Cleveland National Forest is nearby. They say it wasn't them either. SoCal Edison does confirm they did fly drones yesterday, but they say that was near Menifee and Murrieta and not after dark, so you can rule them out as well. The one agency, though, we have not heard back from is the FAA.
Multiple aircrafts on high alert and some even maneuvering to avoid a reported unidentified flying object over the skies of Western Oregon.
You can't really see anything, at least with this dark video of the night sky on December 7th, taken by Life Flight crew members. But Life Flight pilot Joe Bewley says it was there and it was weird.
It's red in color, moving at extreme speeds. I don't even know how to describe how fast it's moving.
You are cleared to maneuver as necessary, left and right, to avoid the UFO out there.
This is Joe communicating with air traffic control while he was piloting that Life Flight call to the North Bend, Coos Bay area. And the UFO in question, if you look closely on your screen, that little red dot that floats in and out of the video.
That was the one that was at our altitude that would come up to us and sit for about 3 to 5 seconds, and then it would go back out over the ocean, over the horizon.
He and his crew witnessed this mysterious object continue this odd behavior for more than 20 miles away for about 20 minutes total. This came after a United Airlines flight reported seeing similar mysterious objects zipping through the sky, ranging between 30,000 and 50,000 feet in altitude.
We're seeing 3 or 4 targets. You know, they're all altitudes, up and down. It's pretty crazy.
a satellite move like that.
I reached out to the Federal Aviation Administration to see if they can confirm this UFO sighting. They kept it short and sweet, saying a pilot saw unidentified lights. The good news is it's not believed Joe or his crew were in any danger as they continue to fly down to Coos Bay and back up to their station in Aurora. But the mysterious object popped up on his traffic collision avoidance system. He says that's not something that a light reflection can do.
TCAS works off a transponder code. So for something to register, it was registering like an aircraft. So the weird thing is we were seeing it as an aircraft inside the aircraft, but ATC wasn't showing it on their radar.
Joe says he has 6,000 hours of flight experience and he's never seen anything like this.
Some New Jersey officials say the aircraft appear able to evade traditional radar and police helicopters.
They appear to actually avoid detection by traditional methods. So when our state police helicopter has gotten close, lights go off and they go away.
The mystery has many demanding answers.
But how do you know there's no threat if you don't know much about it?
What are these drones doing in New Jersey? I can tell you what they're not doing. If they're Martians, I guarantee you they're not staying because the taxes are way too high.
Both Senator Mark Kelly and General Charles Brown said this is happening here and across the country over sensitive military sites. Kelly said there is no doubt that foreign actors are behind some of these instances, which means foreign countries spying on our military operations.
But, it could be anything.
And the concern is that they're maybe getting sensitive information, gathering data, taking pictures. That sort of thing?
Well, if it is, in fact, a foreign adversary, sure. But that seems to be the first thing that has been almost ruled out here. And we've heard that both from the Pentagon and the White House, that they don't see any indication that this is the work of a foreign adversary. And, initially there was talk about Iran and China, and this is really being batted away by folks at the White House and the Pentagon.
Wow. So that was a piece put together, clips of news reports around the country. Drones, drones this, drones that. What in the world is going on here, Magnolia?
Yeah. I mean, it's starting to feel like it's a giant troll. Like someone's just trolling right now.
I mean, these are compiled, within the last year. We're talking about all across the United States. You've heard California, Oregon, can't even, just all over the place. Mm-hmm. Military saying they intercepted it by military base. Airline pilots are saying on traffic control, they see these drones in the sky or whatever. They don't even know where they're coming from, the origins, nothing like that. And it's going on now continuously. But now you're getting lawmakers. One thing I find very, very odd about this drone story is because we titled the video last night Drone Madness, right? Or did we night before, madness. It's madness. You got assemblymen, you got people, sheriffs now, you got politicians, you got mayors, congressional members, senators, governors, all calling on this stuff for, beating the drum. And I think this is going to turn into some sort of more laws.
Yeah, it's what it looks like is where they're headed. I mean, Chuck Schumer saying he's going to introduce a bill about, or he already did, actually.
Yeah, we actually have that clip of Schumer speaking today. He spoke for a little bit. It's a news followed by Schumer speaking. Senator Chuck Schumer, New York. As we discuss Hochul speaking out, now Schumer's talking like he wants action. Let's play that.
Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. I'm Stephanie Quinu. Time right now is 2:38 Eastern, 11:38 Pacific. I wanted to share this social media post by Senator Chuck Schumer, who says that I'm pushing for answers amid these drone sightings. He's talking about the dozens of mysterious drone sightings that folks have been seeing in the skies above New Jersey, New York, and a number of other areas across the United States. He continues his social media post to say, quote, I'm calling for Secretary Mayorkas to deploy special drone detection tech across New York and New Jersey, and I'm working to pass a bill in the Senate to give local law enforcement more tools for drone detection. This is a live look right here at both New York and New Jersey. New York being on the left-hand side of your screen, New Jersey, Rutherford, New Jersey, right there on the right-hand side. This has really been weeks of fear about drones buzzing over parts of New York and New Jersey. And now Senator Schumer is urging the federal government to deploy better drone tracking technology to identify and to ultimately stop these drones. So just earlier today, he is now calling on the Department of Homeland Security to immediately deploy special technology that identifies and tracks drones back to their landing spots. His calls come amid growing public concern that the federal government has not offered clear explanations as to who exactly is operating these drones and hasn't stopped them. National security officials have said the drones do not appear to be a sign of foreign intelligence and interference, but there is a lot of skepticism. President-elect Trump posting on social media last week, quote, "Can this really be happening without our government's knowledge? I don't think so. Let the public know, and now, otherwise shoot them down." Now, certain agencies within the Department of Homeland Security have the power to incapacitate drones. However, Secretary Mayorkas was sharing with journalists, quote, "We need those authorities expanded," although he didn't exactly say how. He also said that the drones do not appear to be linked to foreign governments. Moments ago, as Senator Schumer talking about the push for better drone detection, and I wanted to play that out for you now.
So I'll give it
1
to
o'clock.
him. I'll let him go.
Okay.
This
All
is
right.
a white balance.
Okay.
I think we got it already. Thank you. Aiden, you're going to record for.
How am I going to hold this up? Okay. I'll do it this way.
And
Okay.
And you do this way.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good morning, everybody. Good to be back. And first, a Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy everything to everybody. Okay, so why are we here today? We're here today because it's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's a drone. And when it comes to drones, people in the New York area and all across the country have more questions than answers. We've seen lots of recent sightings in New York, New Jersey, Long Island, Staten Island. So, it's remarkable, with all these sightings over the last while, why do we have more questions than answers? Well, we're here today for 3 reasons. First, to push a new but unclassified tech into wide use, the so-called Robin, to get answers on these drones, and also to announce that I am going to help pass, and I'm going to co-sponsor legislation that will combat these drones in a better way by allowing local police departments and state police departments to help the feds in sighting these drones, which so many have requested. If the technology exists for a drone to make it up into the sky, there certainly is the technology that can track the craft with precision and determine what the heck is going on. And that's what the Robin does. Today we're asking the DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, to deploy special detection systems like the Robin, which use not a linear line of sight, but 360-degree technology that has a much better chance of detecting these drones. And we're asking DHS to bring them to the New York, New Jersey area. That's what we're trying to do, number one. Once we get those answers, we will be in much better shape. Let's face it, our local people who have Our local people who have questions about these drones should not have to shake an 8-ball to get an answer. They want real answers, and the Robin can supply those answers, and that's why we want them here. So this is a broader and better response to the technology than we now have, and we need them deployed. Technology like the Robin was originally targeted to assess birds in aviation, so it can find little things, because when birds fly into a plane, it can be very, very damaging. But that precision is just the kind of technology, the 360-degree type of technology, that will make it much easier to figure out what these drones are, where they are, and find out even who is launching them. I've had briefings from the Department of Homeland Security. These are not classified, so I can talk about them, about this technology. I asked them about it last week, and they said this is late last week, and this is just the kind of technology we need. Drone radar is based on the use of radio waves. The radio waves are sent out in short pulses, and that means it's detectable. The question is, why haven't the federal authorities detected them yet? But now we're pushing them to get this done quickly, because it's been too long where there have been no answers. Now, it is true it's not so easy. Some of the drones are small. Some of the drones' flight patterns are erratic. Multiple drones flying together can confuse a traditional radar system. And that's why, again, this new technology can really get us the answers that we need. Also today, I've written the Secretary of Homeland Security, Secretary Mayorkas, not only to urge action on technology like the Robin, but also to get him to support legislation. It's called S-1631. Right now, state and local law enforcement does not have the ability or the legal authority to detect drones. It's only the federal agencies. But because there are so many of these drones in so many places, our local authorities want and need the help. This legislation will get them the help. The FBI has used its authority, for instance, over the Super Bowls. I'm going to the Giant game today. There will be the feds with certain technologies right over the stadium there to detect any dangerous drones or anything else that could happen. Well, they can use the same thing to detect the drones that we now have and have seen. So that's basically it. I'll co-sponsor this legislation, and it's called S-1631, that allows the local authorities to do so, and I will be pushing it as soon as possible. As I said, and I'll do it again for this nice man who came in.
Could you hold up the photos again?
Yes, I will. I will. To this very nice fellow.
Which outlet?
Okay.
Don't block your face, Senator.
No, good point. I should have learned that over the years.
You know how to do this.
Yes, okay. So this is what's in the sky. It's not a bird, it's a plane, it's a drone. New Yorkers have tremendous questions about it. We are going to get the answers for them. Okay? And as I said, we'll do it this way since I did it this way last time. You should not, if you see a drone in your air over your home, you should not have to shake an 8-ball to see what it is. There ought to be better technology, and there is. We need that technology here in New York, ASAP. Okay? Questions on this subject? Yes.
Senator, if there's no idea where these are coming from, would you consider banning the sale of them from some of the companies that make the drones?
Well, we first have to see what they are. We have to see what drones they are, where they're coming from. Are they U.S. drones? Are they coming from... No one thinks they're from a foreign government, and no one thinks they're doing harm right now by tracking the patterns. But we certainly want to first get the answers to the questions, and then we'll take further action.
Are you in touch with the companies that make them?
We don't know they don't know what they are, so we don't know the companies. There are hundreds of companies all over the globe that make drones. We don't know which ones these are. This radar will help us find out which they are, and then we can go talk to the companies.
Senator, everybody who has a drone, especially in the media, right? These drones are being watched constantly. So how is it that you have drones that nobody knows anything about?
Well, they've happened in the last few weeks. And there is technology that can detect them, and that's what we're urging to happen right now.
So in other words, you're saying that these drones are not registered like normal?
Correct. There is no system. This is what our legislation helps do. There's no system for registering any drone. You have, as long as the drone is not near an airport or a military base, as long as it is flying below a certain level altitude, people have a right to fly them. You can go to a park and some people are flying drones.
Got it.
Sir, as the author of the UAP amendment in the 2024 National Defense Authorization Act, you, among anybody, should be calling these what they are. We don't know they're drones, correct? They are UAPs. Why?
We don't.
Why aren't they being called UAPs?
Because we don't know if there are UAPs. We don't know what they are. That's what we're trying to find out.
Identified, of course.
Nobody knows what they are. We have to find out.
Senator,
yes.
Are these U.S. military drones?
We don't believe they're, no, we do not believe they are U.S. military drones, or the military would have told us that.
Why have a precaution taken sooner? Why now? Why have a precaution?
Well, all of a sudden, they're in the skies all over the place, and so we got to find answers, and then the legislation will provide much more authority as to where and when drones can fly. Right now, there is no authority to that, because there are so many hobbyists and everybody else who flies drones. So you got to figure out how to do it.
Have you spoken with top government leaders about the possibilities involved with non-human intelligence?
Look, we have spoken with top government leaders about finding the answers to what these are. We don't know what they are. No more, sir. Let other people. Okay?
When will you have a definitive answer of what these drones or where they're coming from?
The sooner the better. We've talked to the Homeland Security and the FBI and told them we need answers quickly, and they've said this legislation will help, and they say getting the Robins in the area will help.
Senator, drones are required to have digital license plates. Why hasn't there been any public?
There's the laws on where and when and who can fly drones are rather limited, and this legislation will make it greater. Will help make it greater. Yes, we'll take one more and then we got to go.
Governor Hochul came out with a statement just about 50 minutes ago saying that in response to her calls for additional resources, federal partners are deploying a state-of-the-art drone detection system in New York State.
We need the Robin system here. That's what we're asking for.
How does that fit into what she's saying?
I haven't talked to her, so I can't tell you. I don't know.
We can talk to you.
She's calling for the passing the counter UAS authorities.
That's the bill that I talked about. Okay. Okay. Thank you, folks. I got to go.
Is the Robin?
Yes, you didn't get one.
Is the Robin another?
The Robin is a 360-degree type radar that can fly on a plane. It's not a drone, but it can fly on a drone. It can fly on an airplane. It can go anywhere. But because it's 360 degrees, it has a much better chance of detecting things.
It acts like a bird, Robin.
If you find out that the people that are doing this are private citizens, will they be charged with any type of crime?
No, there's no crime of doing this right now unless they are near a military base, unless they are near an airport. All right. Thank you, everybody. Okay.
Enjoy the game, Senator.
Thank you.
Wow. All right, Magnolia. I'm starting to put the pieces together here in my take. Well, let me hear your take.
Well, isn't it amazing that Chuck Schumer knows the exact technology that we need to solve everything?
Right down it all written up.
Number.
It's all written up and ready already. Wow. It makes all the sense in the world now, Magnolia, because, I will say, again, I've never seen a coalition of politicians, addressing this issue on the forefront in the last few days. Interesting on that aspect. Two, man, we're in a little bit, we're going to play what CNN has been putting out. They've just been putting out clip after clip after clip on this topic over and over and over, almost like the propaganda, like there's something wrong, possibly, maybe, right?
Yeah.
To justify this madness.
Yes.
Right? It has turned into hysteria here, but it might not even be hysteria. They're just making it hysteria and make it bigger than it is. And then ultimately at the result is it's justification to come up with their rules to stop the drone game.
Yeah, and he had this whole presentation with the 8-ball and the picture of the drone and his little phrase, it's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's a drone. Also, who knew that Chuck Schumer was an expert on drone detection systems? I had no idea that was his expertise. But boy, if he didn't have the stats ready to go, right? He said, why not?
Without having the information, without even having all the information. We still don't know. And you know what, Magnolia? You know what other thing he said, Magnolia? He doesn't believe these are military crafts. That's what he said. They're not military. That's what he said. Meaning the military. He said they would have told them if the military would have told them. So he's saying this is not a military. So what does that mean? Because all we've been hearing about people's takes are it's either our military or it's foreign adversaries. They're giving us a choice here, but Schumer's pretty much saying it's not military. Then what is it?
I'm starting to think it's a bunch of trolls that they sent out to do this.
Magnolia, I'm telling you, it might be.
Like those guys that got arrested yesterday, the guys that got arrested last night. I mean, first of all, it's not a crime to fly your drone in the sky. That's not a crime.
They want to make it, though.
As long as you have it registered, as long as you have the little FAA number and your license, you can fly a drone. So why is it that these guys were out there last night flying their drone, which is not a crime, by the way, and yet when the police start approaching them, they run away? They know they're getting
People
caught.
are saying patsies. People in the chat are saying patsies. They're patsies, man. I mean, I'm chuckling here because I honestly, at this point, it all makes sense now. The pieces are coming together.
Yeah, it's just amazing that he knew the system that he's calling for is called Robin Radar Detection System. And he said, which use not a linear line of sight, but 360-degree technology that has a much better chance of detecting these drones. He's very well educated on drone detection systems, and specifically he called for a specific one. So my first question is, who does he know who works at that company, or
exactly
does he have investments in that company? So that's what I first am asking, because he's not just simply saying, hey, federal government, we need some equipment to help us figure out where these drones are coming from. Send in some help. He's not just saying that. He's specifically saying this exact system and telling all about how it works. So yeah, it really does seem like he just gave up the game. Right
well,
there.
This reminds me, after 9/11, all these agencies that were created after 9/11, just in the guise of stopping terrorism. And then this also, and these drones, where else to get public, wondering what's going on and create mass hysteria, but fly a bunch of drones in the sky in one of the most populated spots in the United States, New York, New Jersey, all in that area.
Yeah, I keep seeing people in the chat making this comment about Temu making these drones. It sounds like Temu has recently sold a bunch of drones in the United States. Temu is a website you can order stuff from for very cheap. So one other thing about that, though, that kind of goes into what that press conference was, someone asked if let's see, CB News reporter Lisa Rosner asked Schumer, she said, would you consider banning the sale of them from some of the companies that make drones? And Schumer answered, there are hundreds of companies all over the globe that make drones. We don't know which ones they are. This radar will help us find out which they are, and then we can go talk to the companies. So that's code for they want to know, they want to use these detection systems to basically identify every drone and trace it back to the maker and the company who made it. So then they can probably work to create regulations to limit production of drones, of personal drones and things like that. Because what it kind of sounds like is there's been like an explosion of drones being made by various companies all over the world, and no one can really keep track of them. And so I could see how that in one respect would be a little bit of a security threat. For example, if you have, you know, people coming over the southern border with drones, maybe that were made in China or something, and they come in, and we had someone who recently was arrested, a Chinese national that was arrested for spying with a drone
by a
so I
military
can
base.
see how it would be helpful to identify each and every drone, but it also would serve to basically consolidate the companies so for better control, because the less companies that make them, the easier it is to control them with legislation and regulations and things like that. So that's kind of what the bigger picture is starting to look like here.
Also, you know, I do want to throw back in 2020 with the COVID stuff and the lockdowns. You remember New York was on the forefront of, you know, having all these COVID restrictions and regulations in COVID in the name of health and safety. Well, it kind of reminds me of this again. Like this is a new drone pandemic. We have a drone pandemic that needs to be solved here. And the solution here is the federal government creating more laws, but ultimately all of us, it affects all of us. Restricts our use of drones, which is the future.
Right.
It regulates us.
Yeah, I mean the drone market has really blown up in the last 10 years, especially because when drones first came out, not that many people had them because they were very expensive. But the price point has come down to the point now where you can get like a toy drone for like $20. So, you know, that just makes it easier for people to make them. And it seems like there's just so many now that they can't keep track.
And with this particular, I mean, witnesses could continue to say that the drones in the sky are the size of SUVs. Now, the average consumer, the average person like us, ain't putting drones in the sky that are the size of SUVs.
No.
These has to be some sort of corporations, government, or somebody with big pockets to be able to put these things up in the sky.
Yeah.
But they're using them as an excuse to create this legislation, which will ultimately affect all of us and our small drones.
Right. Yeah.
Down the line. That's the way that's my take. If I'm wrong, share in the chat if you disagree. I love to hear people's opinions on this, but I see where this is going now. I actually see it.
And
the light is out.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like over the last few days, it just started feeling more and more like a scam. Like you just can't really put your finger on what exactly the scam is, but you know you're being scammed because it's not possible for literally no one in the government whatsoever to know what these things are, or the military, or even local law enforcement. That's just unrealistic and stupid for them to say that. So it's felt kind of like a scam for a while.
Well, I mean, when you have Chuck Schumer and Hochul beating the drum on this issue, you gotta, you know, raise your eyebrows here. Whenever they talk about doing something, you gotta be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You know, like to me, Hochul is a authority. You know, she's just trying to create more restrictions as much as possible in the state of New York.
Yeah. But another big clue is that this is a bipartisan issue. Anytime all politicians agree on something, you should be worried.
Big Mike said, thank you for the comment. Google search Joby Archer and air taxi. We got that. So yeah, we'll look into that. Joby Archer and air taxi. I don't know what that means, but I'm gonna do that now just to look. Yeah, Magnolia. This is now I seem like, and once they create this legislation, then solution solved, and all this probably goes away. What do you think? but at the cost of, nope, you cannot. The consumer rule number blah, blah, blah. The consumer cannot put a drone in the sky between the hours of 8 p.m. and 6 a.m. without express authorization and written authorization by your local police or something, unless, provisions, unless it's for emergency or you're a EMS, first responder, SARS, or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
But all of us, I see where this is going. All of us will be prohibited from putting a drone in the sky at nighttime. You must not fly a drone within 1,000 feet or 1 mile from an airport, 1 mile from a school, 1 mile from a church, 1 mile from an air base, which pretty much restricts everywhere. I see where this is going, Magnolia. It's Schumer just gave it away.
Yeah. Well, what'll happen is they'll spend a bunch of money on these systems that he just mentioned, and they'll get those systems, and and his legislation will pass, and then all of a sudden the drones will just magically stop appearing every night.
Wow. Wow. What else we got? So we can share and inform the public of what's being put out there, this whole scenario, this whole situation. I'm at all here.
Emily said they do know Archer Aviation has partnership with the U.S. government, the Department of Defense, for $142 million contract ET-Vol. And someone else mentioned, let me find it. A similar Joby Aviation makes air taxis. They're electric. Yeah, so we've been hearing a lot about these. The basically they're passenger drones, air taxis, the vertical takeoff and landing. We've been hearing a lot about that, and it does seem like that's what a lot of these drones could be. Yeah, Buddy said these are passenger drones. They're on the market with no rules. They are flying cars. We are ushering in a new era of transportation. Yeah, they do. Yeah, I was thinking in Back to the Future, we were supposed to have flying cars by now. The movie.
So could this be to push us out of the way and allow these bigger drones to be able to navigate the skies? And the smaller drones have to be grounded, more or less? Is that where this could be? Like, because they feel like drones will be doing the packaging, the Amazons, the shipping, possibly transportation, like sky taxis.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to do that, you might need airspace, right?
Yeah.
And for them, maybe they're like, the government doesn't want these smaller drones up in the sky to interfere with commerce and all this type of things going on.
Yeah.
George Jetson type of stuff.
Yeah, someone said the Jetsons are here.
Yeah, George Jetson type of stuff.
We'll be flying like the Jetsons soon. And yeah, Kelbell says again, why isn't Elon saying anything?
Yeah.
Why is Elon
possibly he
so
got an
quiet?
investment in this whole situation. Possibly this could be a bipartisan investment for the next administration to come in and really profit off this, in a sense. Big
Yeah,
profit.
and I think that something, maybe whatever it is possible that it could be some sort of contract with SpaceX or Tesla or something. Yeah, it is very unusual. I have to admit that Elon is not talking about the drone situation, because Elon weighs in on every topic in pop culture, in politics, anything that's going on, any story that's out there, he comments on, he pipes up all the time. This is a technology related scam, and yet he hasn't said a word. Except he left off with a cliffhanger in September and said, there are drone wars coming that will boggle the mind. So he gave that little cliffhanger back in September, and now fast forward, here we are, and there's unidentified flying objects everywhere. Yeah, and the other thing, yeah, he did retweet a joke today about it that was making fun of people who are misidentifying drones for planes. And so he did tweet that. So he's basically mocking people that are saying what they're seeing is drones, and actually most of them are planes, which actually that reminds me, we have a clip of Adam Kinzinger. This will probably trigger people, but Adam Kinzinger is basically saying that there are no drones. No, people are not seeing drones. That's not happening, according to Adam Kinzinger.
Yeah,
and that's from FBI is, we don't see a threat here. And look, honestly, every video I've seen, and I've spent the last couple of days looking at every one of these videos, every video I have seen on Twitter or on the internet are all airplanes. They're literally all airplanes. Some of them will show an airplane that's kind of stable out there and says that's a drone, and actually it's an airplane flying towards you at 30,000 feet, and I can see the lighting on it. And if there are drones out there, by the way, and if any of these pictures that they have shown are actual drones, these drones then are complying with FAA lighting requirements, a green on the right, a red on the left with a strobe. And so it's not Iran, it's not aliens if there are drones. My guess is if there are drones, again, because again, all I've seen are airplanes, then it is more than likely some company that's out testing drones or something like that and has no requirement to tell the public that they're doing it because they're actually operating these things legally. There have been no accusations of illegal operations. By the way, as a pilot myself, I can fly over a military base whenever I want. Those restrictions don't exist. So I think there's a lot of mass hysteria, and I've heard stories of people pointing lasers at these quote-unquote drones, and then the drones' lights go off. Actually, let's be clear. I've been lased as a pilot before. You're supposed to turn off all your lights once you get lased so that they can't find you because it can actually damage your eyes.
Right.
So, yeah, I think there's a lot of hysteria here.
Interesting. Interesting. Well, you know, one thing he said was about the FAA lighting, because I played a clip of an expert that's saying that the lights on these drones that are seen are FAA lighting that the FAA requires. Therefore, it's not foreign. These are not foreign objects. They have to be here at home, something here at home. He didn't say whether it was a plane or a drone, you know, but they were just saying about the FAA lighting on these things.
Well, he's claiming that he's reviewed all the videos that people have been posting for the last several days, and every single one of them was a plane.
Yeah, he's ridiculous on that. You can't just say everyone is a plane. That's ridiculous. I mean, people have come out on the record, including law enforcement, sheriffs, Monmouth County Sheriff and Ocean County and certain places, saying that they say they're drones. They're drones. They don't even say they're UFOs. They say they're drones. So for him to say that, you know, 100% every single one of them is he's wrong there. He's wrong.
Well, yeah, that's just not possible. So I mean, people see what they see. Lisa said, I like Elon Musk, but that post was sus. Yeah, so the meme that I don't have that in front of me, but the meme that he shared was it was basically like a chart that had all different types of planes listed on the chart, and it had drone labeled on every single one of them. It was almost like an echo, like a joke around what Kinzinger just said. So yeah, that is really weird.
So what's up with these heat maps? I know you were sharing something about heat maps. What is the heat maps?
Yeah.
What's going on here with this that's being put out there?
Yeah, this is this is New Jersey specifically. Monmouth County put out a map that just kind of shows where the drones are being seen, where most of them seem to be spotted. And then they have a chart here, or a map here, with the different locations of where it was known that they were seen.
How convenient to fly these things over some of the military bases and Trump's golf course. Just how convenient. And airports. You know, just some of in a very populated area. Just how convenient is that these things are popping up on these areas here? to justify what they plan on doing, whatever they're doing. You give people, once they start with something, they keep expanding whatever they want to do. Like putting the boiling frog in the water, right? Remember putting the boiling frog in the water, and you put the boiling frog in the water, and you just turn up the boiling water just slowly, 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 so the frog doesn't know what's up until the frog is cooked.
Mm-hmm.
Because the frog doesn't jump out right away. Like if you turn up the heat right away, you're gonna be like, ah. But if you do it slowly and slowly and slowly and slowly, and you simmer,
Yeah.
that's what they're trying to do to us, right? With these rules, laws, regulations, policies, and procedures. So interesting that it's starting now before the shift of administration, unless everyone is in on it.
Mm-hmm.
Unless everyone is in on this fix.
Yeah, a lot of people are pointing to the lights specifically as major clues because the lights on these things just so happen to be FAA compliant. And so if that's true, if they're all FAA compliant, then that would eliminate certain possibilities such as spy drones, enemy drones, things like that. It makes it more likely that they are American, United States in some capacity. But there is one person who is still saying he thinks that they could be coming offshore. I have a quick clip of the incoming National Security Advisor, Mike Waltz, thinks that the drones actually could be coming from offshore. So
we talking mothership, the mothership theory?
I'm not sure. We'll see what he says, but yeah, he seems to think that they could be coming from offshore. So I'm not sure.
The intelligence you've seen, is there any reason for the public to be worried?
Well, look, when you have sensitive sites like Picatinny Arsenal, you have, of course, President Trump's residence at Bedminster, and you have other no-fly areas. Those need to be enforced. We need to know who's behind it. But right now, I think law enforcement seems to be the Department of Homeland Security and the Defense Department are kind of all doing this and pointing at each other. So when we come in, how do we enforce these low-level, long loitering, could be dangerous drones? And one thing for people to appreciate, they're evolving so rapidly. It's not necessarily somebody that's just on the other end flying it. They could be following pre-positioned GPS coordinates. They could be coming from offshore.
Huh. The mothership.
Yeah, so he's suggesting that these could be pre-programmed GPS coordinates and not actually being actively manned.
It just seems like it's a cluster with all these theories, and they're just going to mash it in and just use every single possibility as an excuse to justify what they plan on doing.
Yeah.
Right? They're really not going to get to the bottom of the origins. Look at the screen. There's actually right now there's a plane. Do you see that little dot? Yeah, I'm looking. This is the live feed of the downtown skyline in New York. I think they call it One Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
I like this backdrop. We've been using it the last couple nights, the live feeds. Yeah, that must be because the planes are still going on in LaGuardia and even Newark Liberty. I mean, the planes come and go. I think that's facing. I want to say that's facing west, but I'm not sure the direction of where it's facing. I mean, you're gonna hear. I mean, we might never get to the bottom of what the origins of this. It's just the government's going to come in a solution and just say, we're going to do this, that, and the other.
Mm-hmm.
And never tell us what really this was about. I see it coming. I see it coming. What else do we have in the pipeline so we can share with the audience?
Well, we have another video. New Jersey mayor is speaking out again, so we'll see what they had to say. They continue to do these interviews with the media, so we'll see what they're saying.
Latest drone sightings. We're joined by Belleville, New Jersey Mayor Michael Melham. Mr. Mayor, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start with Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. Let's play him, and I'll get you to react to him.
There's no question that people are seeing drones, and I want to assure the American public that we in the federal government have deployed additional resources, personnel, technology to assist the New Jersey State Police in addressing the drone sightings.
Mr. Mayor, are you getting the information you need from the Department of Homeland Security?
We are not. I mean, it's been 4 days since an unprecedented meeting with every single mayor in the state of New Jersey, including members of our state legislature, were gathered together to be told exactly what the state of New Jersey knows, and that's very little. If you listen to exactly what they were saying, the little bit of information that we did get, but you couple that with what they weren't saying, it's leading people like me to draw their own conclusions. And some have said that our conclusions are basically conspiracy theories, but the best way to squash a conspiracy theory is with truth and transparency, and that's what we're seeking and demanding.
What are leaders there in the Garden State telling you if you encounter drones in your city?
Yeah, so I broke that news a couple days ago. We now have guidance on exactly what to do. Our police department is to immediately call the local bomb squad, and our fire department has to suit up with hazmat material.
I grew up in New Jersey. I'm curious, how alarmed are people in your community?
They're concerned. I mean, listen, you can see the drones. I mean, there's no doubt about that. So once you factor in the little bit of information that we know and what they're not telling us, they're basically telling us there's no critical threat. They're telling us they're over our major infrastructure. They're telling us they're not going to shoot them down. And they're also telling us that they're not going to ban them. So that kind of leads you to believe that they're probably our government assets. So that leads and begs the next question. Why are they circling above our houses?
What is your advice to people in your community and others who ask you and they are concerned?
Again, they are concerned. We are being told, do not take the law into your own hands. It is a federal offense to shoot upon a drone. It's considered an aircraft. We don't want people taking the law into their own hands, that's for sure. But the more the federal government gives us, again, we keep seeking truth and transparency. That is going to squash a lot of these conspiracy theories that you're seeing floating around the internet.
Mayor Michael Melham of Belleville, New Jersey. Mr. Mayor, thank you for taking the time today. Great to speak with you.
Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey,
by the way,
Magnolia,
he was that mayor was an independent. He identified as an independent. But that was interesting. Striver says in the comments, thank you, Striver, with the comment, those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. Lisa, thank you for the comment. If you get a chance, check out the article I just tagged you in on X. One where Trump's son has some kind of deal with Elon Musk and drones.
You know what? I remember hearing about that, actually, because they were saying that at one of the recent dinners down in Mar-a-Lago, Barron Trump and Elon spent a lot of time talking about things like drones. I remember that, and I think it was Elon's mother who actually said that.
Well, that's definitely very, very interesting. We just kind of see where the direction is on this, and we have the media, pumping and beating us out. I mean, maybe we even drank the Kool-Aid a couple days ago when we were just like, "What in the world's going on here?" There's drones up in the sky and everything like that. But it seems like there's an agenda here.
Oh yeah,
There's definitely an agenda here, but that's what we do. We investigate.
Yeah.
We could be totally wrong too with our assessment, but I just see it suspect and fishy here and see how they're coming up with the solution here to something which who knows what's going to be.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, they might make it where you can't put drones in the sky like that.
So I have another clip. A guy named Michael B. He came on and he's one of these drone experts, and he was just saying that he went out with his own drone and was trying to fly it, and his app that you have to use to control the drone was saying that it was in a restricted space and it wouldn't let him use it. So he's explaining that and kind of giving his theory on these things.
Oh,
now Michael B., an experienced drone pilot and CEO of Terror Talk. Michael, big welcome to you. And thankfully, you sent us some video from one of your spotters in Hillsborough, New Jersey. And we're going to pull this up here and show our viewers there's a big red dot. There you see it, kind of dead center of the screen. What do you think that is? What do you think people are seeing in the skies? And why only at night?
At this point, I think that someone knows what they are. So what we're doing is we're going to go up and watch you. You're watching us or you're doing whatever. So we're up there watching, we're following, we're trying to get in the air. What they could be, I have no idea.
Okay. We have more video that you sent us of you, in fact, trying to launch a drone, and it was right near an airport. So tell us what happened there and why it's so noteworthy.
Okay, so we got reports last night that there was a lot of drone activity in the East Hanover area, which backs up to Morristown Airport and all that vicinity. So we head out there, we set up in a parking lot about a quarter mile away from the airport, and I'm trying to get flight clearance to take the drone up and see what this other drone is, and I cannot. Restricted, I tried to bypass it. At one point, it even asked for my phone number, and I said, no, I think we're good at this point.
Okay, now hang on. When you say looking for flight clearance, how does that work? I mean, are you literally talking with a control tower, or what are you doing?
So there's an app that you use to connect to the drone. When it's time, when you want to fly, you press a button, and what it does is it looks for flight clearance or restrictions. And what happened was there was a restriction in that area, and I couldn't get up, but there were drones in the air that weren't following the restriction. Now, we verify everything above us with flight radar, so we can tell if it's an airplane or if it's not. None of the things that we go after are on flight radar.
Okay, so what we're looking at, this device notwithstanding, this control for your drone, if drones are getting into areas without clearance by the FAA, is it possible they figured out some kind of a technology to keep their drones from being jammed and or losing power?
Absolutely, absolutely. I don't know if you're aware, last week or so, 2 weeks when this started, I tried to take my drone over Picatinny Arsenal to follow a drone that was just hovering over there. And as I got closer, my drone lost power, spun out, and the battery died, and it went down. But the other drone remained sitting in the air unaffected.
Why? What do you think?
Yep. Secrets that the government don't want us to know, and they're playing stupid. Either that or aliens.
Similar to a cell phone jammer.
Not the latter. Okay, you're smiling. All right, I'm glad. All right. So are there enough restrictions for drones? You're a drone user. Are those restrictions taken seriously by your colleagues, your friends that are drone users as well? Or is more regulation needed? And if it went out there, would it be followed?
I think people are always going to find a way around the regulations. I don't think the average user can get around it because without that app and without that clearance, your drone will not go in there. It just sits there with a red light. So if they did more restrictions, I don't know that they would be followed.
What do you make of the number that the FBI says of all those reports they've gotten? 5,000 reports, fewer than 100 or so warranting further investigation. What do you think would warrant further investigation or exploration? What is it that would pop up that they'd say, yeah, we got to look at this?
I would start with drones hovering over military bases, which I live right next to, and I watch them. They go back and forth. They leave for a little bit. They come back. They hover around. Nothing happens. No one does anything. They just sit there and watch them hover in the air.
But you don't know that those aren't intentionally there, right? That they have been cleared.
Could be. We don't have information on drones. When I go onto a flight radar app, I can only see whatever aircraft is registered in the sky at that moment. And drones are not part of that.
People have, at least Secretary Mayorkas, he had suggested before yesterday that these were all fixed-wing aircraft, these dozens and dozens and dozens of sightings. Now he's saying mostly that, but there are some that are just drones. What's your expectation of this? If it's fixed-wing aircraft, why is it so hard to tell the difference?
So I believe the misconception is when we say drone, people are picturing like my recreational drone. It's got the 4 propellers, and they can get very loud. The drones that we're seeing are like mini aircraft. They look like airplanes, but at the distance they are at, they're too small to be airplanes. They're too small to be aircraft, and they're not on the registration for the flight radar. So they do look like airplanes. And that's what's confusing people because they look up and they say, okay, that looks like an airplane, but it's not. It's a small drone.
Okay, Michael B. This has been super interesting and very illuminating. So thank you very much.
Magnolia. So He's saying the app wouldn't work and his drone got grounded when he was by a military base.
Yeah, it comes up on the app and it'll tell you if it's restricted airspace or not. So where he was trying to put it up, it said restricted, and so his drone would not operate and it wouldn't go in the air. But he said there were other drones in the air at the same time.
So this goes back to what before with Schumer, right? They're going to try to identify all these companies and try to work with them to be able to limit where these drones could fly up at.
Mm-hmm.
Through the apps.
Yeah.
Through the app. So basically it's you know, I compared it to a cell phone jammer. Prisons have cell phone jammers. You can't use a cell phone around a particular prison. Other places have that type of where you can't, you know, utilize a device. Is that where we're headed to here? Like, are we headed to where we get a little drone, we put it up in the sky and it's a certain area and it will prohibit it from even going up in the sky around that area?
Yeah, I think it'll actually shut the drone down completely.
A kill switch.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. I see what they're doing. They're doing.
And I've heard people report that early into this, I guess last week sometime, I remember seeing people that were trying to put their own drone up in the air to see what was going on, and they said that their batteries were draining immediately and the drone was just spiraling down. It wouldn't go up in the air. And I was like, that's weird. So I heard that was happening, but he kind of described it too, but he just said, you know, it wouldn't even let him put it up in the air at all.
All right, so I just sent you from a blue check marked account, pretty big following. Something happening at Patterson Air Force Base right now. Drone incursions closed. Patterson Air Force Base. I'll throw that tweet up when you get the chance to show everyone. I want to look more into this and see if this is just what this is, but it's being put out there. And it's breaking.
I don't see which one you're talking about.
Did you get the tweet?
No.
Okay, let me send it again. Oh yeah, I sent it to the wrong account. I'm sorry. I sent it to myself. I have my own little JLR in the Telegram, and I send things over. All right, it's coming, incoming. So something is going on at Patterson Air Force Base. I'm gonna follow up and see if there's any additional information of what this is. But again, these nighttime things people putting out, and it seems like all these drone incidents. They're okay. So now they're playing. I also have a 911 call I'm sending you, Magnolia, about this. Listen to air traffic controllers. Patterson Air Force Base had to temporarily shut down due to unauthorized drone activity in the area, and there's a 911 call. So I'm going to send this to you too, because they're showing about this just happened tonight. One thing I've noticed about this whole drone situation is these events happen at night. You don't see like daytime stuff. It's always night. What is going on here? So Raw Alerts puts out the 911 call. I sent that to you. If you could share that. We could share the 911 call and see exactly what it is, or you could download it. What does all this mean? Do you see?
Well, this is the one that you sent me about Patterson.
Yeah, it's being spread around like it's breaking right now. It's the people are talking about it on many feeds. What's this about? What happened here? They had to shut down the base temporarily. Where is Yeah, this is strange. If you could get that call up so we could listen to it, it'd be pretty good. People are saying this is actually incredibly significant. The airspace at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base was completely closed down to UAS drone incursions. They say there were multiple craft of different sizes. This airspace is sensitive and restricted. What in the world is going on? Always something else each night. Some others. First, we started out with Boston, which happened last night. Now we got something going on right now in real time at Wright-Patterson.
Southwest of the field, like transition your Delta northeastbound.
Med Flight 8 Patterson Tower, use extreme caution for heavy UAS movement on the base. Security forces is handling the situation. Suggest at or above 1700 AGL.
That we will maintain 2000 and on our transition for Med Flight 8.
And I gotta keep the lights down so that security forces can see.
Roger that, no problem.
Position approved, sir.
Approved, Med Flight 8.
Med Flight 8 Tower.
Ahead for Med Flight 8.
Hey, sir, you're still approved through our Class Delta. After you leave, Columbus is going to sterilize the Class Delta as of 0330 Zulu. Patterson Class Delta is closed after your transition.
I'm sorry about that. You got stepped on by other traffic. Can you say again?
Yes, sir. Your transition is still approved. However, Patterson Class Delta is sterilized as of 0330 Zulu for heavy unknown UAS activity. Security forces is handling it, and Columbus is going to sterilize the airspace after you leave the Delta.
Roger that. No problem. Thank you.
All aircraft use extreme caution. Patterson Class Delta is now closed for heavy UAS activity.
All right, so it seems like that was traffic control. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. David in the comments, that base is part of Strategic Command in Dayton, Ohio. So something happened this evening. Do you have anything else on that? Okay, so Magnolia put something back up into the chat. I'm on.
Med Flight 8 Patterson Tower, use extreme caution for heavy UAS movement on the base. Security forces in the situation. Suggest at or above 1700 AGL.
That we will maintain 2000 and on our transition for Med Flight 8.
And I gotta keep the lights down so that security forces can see.
Roger that, no problem. Ahead for Med Flight 8.
Hey, sir, you're still approved through our Class Delta. After you leave, Columbus is going to sterilize the Class Delta as of 0330 Zulu. Patterson Class Delta is closed after your transition.
I'm sorry about that. You got stepped on by other traffic. Can you say again?
Yes, sir. Your transition is still approved. However, Patterson Class Delta is sterilized as of 0330 Zulu for heavy unknown UAS activity. Security forces is handling it, and Columbus is going to sterilize the airspace after you leave the Delta.
Thank you.
All aircraft use extreme caution. Patterson Class Delta is now closed for heavy UAS activity.
Okay, so Magnolia. What they're reporting is this incident occurred late Friday night into Saturday a.m. It's now making the rounds now. So weird that people are posting it now. What's your take?
Yeah, right. It's Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is in the northeast. It's like in the north. It's northeast of Dayton. It's practically in Dayton.
All right, so this will probably be used as another incident to justify whatever legislation they have. for sure. Well, that's really all we have tonight, folks. I mean, we pretty much wanted to give you the latest. I'm sure we'll be back tomorrow with this particular topic. But, you know, I think something's definitely fishy here. And expect to be regulated.
Yeah.
Over-regulated.
Yeah, it was. So, yeah, this is interesting. So it's weird that this is being reported just now. But, yeah, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base was confirmed closed. Their airspace was closed Friday night due to drones. So that was actually from Friday, and it's just now being reported for some reason.
Yeah, that's why I said I saw it breaking across, like all these blue check mark Twitter accounts are putting it now. So I was assuming it was now, and then and actually I saw some people in the chat were like, "This is from Friday night, early Saturday morning." So and yes, it's when it happened. So I guess people over time get these 911 calls and these traffic controls, and they go through the Broadcastifies and the different types of apps that you can listen to, and they get it, and then they play it at a later date. Hopefully it's real. I'm assuming it's real. I mean, another thing you have to be very cautious too is people playing edited and doctored stuff. But I mean, we got blue checked verified accounts that break news with hundreds of thousands of followers putting it out. Wow. Just wow.
Yep.
All right. Well, we'll be on this, and I'm sure we'll hear something tomorrow. You know, tomorrow's a weekday, right? Tomorrow's the beginning of the week. A lot of things happen on the weekdays. Government is usually closed on the weekend. So I have a feeling tomorrow we'll probably get a lot more out of this, and the conversation will continue, and we'll be most likely back in the evening time.
Yeah. Well, and I think one of the next big phases here is that I do think that this legislation Schumer's working on probably will be advanced. And then they're also saying they're going to bring in these drone detection systems. So we'll see how soon they pull that together. Maybe they'll be there in the next couple of days, and all of a sudden the problem will be solved. We'll have to see how that works out.
All right, folks. Thanks for spending time with us. Drone talk, suspects arrested, Schumer speaking. What's next remains to be seen. We're covering this extensive coverage, continuous coverage. We've been on multiple nights in a row. I'm obsessed with this story. I want to see where this goes.
Yeah.
I've been making literally, folks. If you look on my videos today, folks, I've literally made 9 videos or 8 videos on this topic today. I didn't focus on any other true crime case except drones. It was all drones. Yeah. I'm trying to get the understanding of what's going on. I'm trying to feel the temperatures, see the reactionary, the reactions, solutions to the situation. So we're seeing it in real time, and something stinks.
Yep.
Something stinks. All right. Well, any parting words?
No. I said last night, I'm kind of getting tired of the drone, so I hope there's some sort of resolution soon. But yeah, it looks like this is headed towards legislation, right?
Yeah. Maybe sooner than later.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Have a good night. Magnolia and JLR Investigates. Take care. Thank you, subs. Thank you, members. Thank you, everyone in the chat. Hit the sub button and keep the comments coming. We'll talk soon.
Yep.
Have a good night.
Good night, everybody.